I'm Amanda. I'm from Nevada Equine Assisted Therapy. We're here today with Sammy, our Mustang, and Sophie, my assistant. Sammy he was rounded up from the wild about 6-ish years ago, and he's 10. And we think when before he was caught, he had an accident and fractured his jaw and one of his vertebrae. So he's been difficult to build up muscle on his top line and get him flexible, and he's made a lot of great improvements in that, but he still has a little difficulty. So today our goal is to work on some lateral work and some bending and stretching down, and seeing if we can get him to use a little bit more of that top line and make him more comfortable so he's not so U-necked here. So my first video with Sophie, one of the points in my review was that she has her stirrups uneven, and I didn't catch that. That was something I hadn't paid attention to, and Sophie and I just talked that she has a sore hip, and so her left stirrup is a little shorter, so she has a little more balance to make it more comfortable for her. And so because of that, yeah, you'll see that she has her stirrups a different length, and her heels are a little different just because of that tightness and soreness in her hip. So, so that has been addressed. So we'll go ahead and walk on. Get him focused a little bit. And while we're doing a walk, so stay on this side of the R, but also kind of cut the M side of the arena off a little. So we're not on such a big circle. So what I want you to focus on today, you have a little bit of a tendency to get stiff in your arms and get a little low with them. And I'd like you to start being a little softer in your elbow. So when we ride, especially with a horse like this, we want to make sure that when he's soft and when he gives, we have the ability to soften our elbows. I think it had mentioned in our last video, our arms don't get to be part of our bodies. This is pure communication with their mouth. So you just got to detach those elbows from your body. Your arm and your hands are like in this little box. I always imagine this glass box that it has to stay in. It can't come back to my body, can't go out to the sides, no flapping. My hands can't do this or break. So you want to keep that direct line of contact to his mouth. We want a horse that if he's going to stretch down, he needs to understand every single cue we give him. And if our hands are kind of getting a little wonky and he's not sure about what you're asking him, then we're just kind of setting him up for failure and not going to get the results that we want. So I want you to shorten your reins a little bit. And as he's walking, I want you to think about just being soft in your fingers, not letting your reins grow. But, you know, we had talked about if horses are so sensitive, you just squeeze your fingers and they can feel it. If they're that sensitive, then that can be your contact, and that can also be your release. And so when he comes up and he's soft in his neck, when his top line comes underneath you, so all those muscles from the croup to his pole, that comes up underneath you, you soften and allow those muscles to come up. You're not holding him and trying to force him down into it. You're not using your arm just pinned to your side to say, please just stay here. Oh my gosh, you're here. I really hope you stay here. You got to trust him and allow him to come up. And you know, this is the point of a lesson. We're kind of experimenting and seeing how our horse is going to respond to us. And when I talk about getting those hands forward, make sure that you're not just thinking, all right, get him forward and push him down. You know, that's away from me. I imagine my fists kind of pushing against this brick wall in front of me. So my hands are still in a good position, but I'm thinking about getting that pressure forward. Does that make sense? I kind of have a hard time explaining that one, but that's a great place for your hands to be now. So you see how you're still soft. Your elbows have nothing to do with it. It's just your knuckles that are in the same place. And stand on the other side here. So he gets stiff in that right shoulder. It kind of seems to be a theme with our horses here. So we're going to start with a little spiraling. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this circle that we've been on, and we're going to ask him to spiral to the inside. The way we're going to do that is you're going to take a little more feel with your outside rein. So your spiral is going to be a counter bend. And when we get to a smaller circle, then we're going to get a larger bend, or an inside bend, and move him out. So I don't want it to turn into a small circle all of a sudden. Each rotation of the spiral gets a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. And he's done this plenty of times. So he's like, I got this, guys. Let's just go to the middle. You know, I know what we're doing. These two-leggers just, you know, you got to figure it out. Yeah, and I like that inside rein is a little open, so you had a good feel on that. You have a little space to let his left shoulder move to the inside. And that right rein is nice and direct. You're not crossing it. You're keeping that correct communication. And you want to keep that forward movement. He thinks that forward and sideways is just a lot of work, guys. But we got to convince him that if we don't have the momentum, if we don't have the rhythm that we talked about before, that base of our training pyramid, then the bending and the softening is going to be a lot more difficult. What did you feel what he just did there when you got him forward? What did he just do?
Moved his shoulders and relaxed.
He moved his shoulders, yep, he got straighter, and he dropped his head. He lifted that top leg, because that bum, if he can get that forward momentum, the hind end can step further underneath him. Those hind feet can step up underneath his barrel. Good, now he's soft, relax a little bit. That's really nice there. Yes, keep that momentum. And I like that you gave with your fingers. You know, don't let your reins get too long. We can have a nice soft feel of his mouth without having loopy reins. Good, now as you're going, you think about spiraling the circle little bit by little bit. And as he steps with that right leg, or with your right leg, you're squeezing with the right leg when his left shoulder goes forward. And what that does, it's not just a timing thing, but the way they walk, when his left shoulder goes forward, then his right hind is the next leg to move. So when you can cue him with that leg right before that his right hind steps forward, then you're saying, this is the leg I want you to engage with. This is the leg you need to step further forward with. Keep that momentum. There you go. Keep a little more counter bend. Watch that shoulder, and if you feel like he's starting to get dead to the exercise, kind of bump him up a little bit and make him take bigger strides off to the left. There you go. And now a couple big strides, counter bend toward the inside of your circle. Oops. Good. Right squeeze, right squeeze. There. Yeah. Right squeeze forward, right squeeze forward. There's my guy. Very nice, Sophie. You had a nice soft rein. You're thinking about not letting them grow. and those hands went up just like we talked about. Really nice. And I know we discussed from the center of the circle we'd push him back out, but since he likes to drift with that right shoulder, I think we'll do it the other direction. So you find a place that you want to change direction. And even if you go out of our little third of our arena, we're using R, from R to here. But even if you need to go out to get a nice turn. There you go. Now until we get set up on the circle, I don't want you to think too much about the counter bending. Just think forward, get our rhythm. There you go. And remember, we're not tapping every step, you're alternating. So right, left, right, left. Ah, did you feel your horse go forward? Exactly. When you got that rhythm, you're cueing those hind legs. Very nice. There you go. Don't let him die. Good. Left, right, left, right, left, right. All right, so let's start our counter bend spiral, but not letting him kind of get overexcited about putting that right shoulder to the inside of the circle. Good, so you can open that inside rein a little, just not, yeah. You're doing really well about not crossing that outside rein over his withers. Now remember, since we're trying to push him in, you're mostly just using your left leg now. So it's left, 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 little more sideways, left, left, there, left, left. Good, he made the motion. You just catch him if he starts to overdo it a little. But not every step, every other step. Left, left. It's amazing how that little change can immediately have that effect, huh? Did you feel that as soon as you alternated? My words aren't great this morning. Good. All right, let him get a nice correct bend. We have our smaller circle. And let's shorten your reins just a little bit. Make him stay on that inside circle track. We're not working on ovals or trapezoids. There you go. Now you can do a little bit more direct rein. And as you start to spiral out, you can open your outside rein if you need to. He doesn't look like he needs much encouragement to go to the outside of the circle. Good, but make sure he's staying on the spiral, that he's not just taking like those straight steps and moving a shoulder over and then straight steps and moving a shoulder over. It's just one little step at a time. Up, catch his shoulder, catch his shoulder. Don't cross your arm, but I like that it came up. You blocked his mouth or his neck a little bit. Every once in a while he does a couple Spanish walk steps. Did you feel that one? Says, yeah, I'm pretty fancy, guys. Watch this. That's really nice. All right, we got our horse. Oh my gosh, this horse cracks me up. But he looks great right now. Do you feel him? Yeah. So let's just shorten our reins a little bit so we can disconnect those elbows from our body. Make sure you're centered so you can stay in the middle of his top line, staying right in the middle of his back so those back muscles can lift underneath you. Yep, keep the rhythm. As soon as you pushed him forward there, he dropped his head again. Very nice. Rhythm. If your horse is going too fast, if your horse is going too slow, if your horse is too crooked, leg, leg, leg is always the answer. Not nagging him. You need to get a response with your leg, and you got your artificial aid, your whip, to back up your legs if he doesn't respond. We'll just give him a little tap, tap. Oh, yeah, forward, that's right. Okay, when your horse is at a place that you like, when you feel like he's soft, when you feel like you have a good connection with him, now remember when he trots, he's gonna lift his head, so make sure those elbows are forward and prepared. Yeah, get him down. That was a really good transition. As soon as you got him prepared, as soon as you got the rhythm, you just popped right up into that. You didn't have to nag him at all. You didn't have to give him a second cue. Now when he drops his head like that, I want you to relax just your inside fingers. That outside rein is kind of his base of support. You're saying, you're in a frame, I like this, we're gonna stay steady. That inside rein does the squeeze and give to do a little reminder on the inside of his mouth. So we do want bend, we do want soft, and then as soon as he's soft, you relax the fingers for a couple steps, and if he comes up, you close your leg and you squeeze and give that in those inside fingers. Now if he's bulging to the outside of your circle, what are you going to do to correct it? And
My inside leg on.
outside leg. There you go. So you don't want that inside hand to come open too much because that outside shoulder will kind of shoot out just a little bit. But your knee and thigh, just like we were practicing the spiral, think almost a little counter bend and then pushing with that outside leg. Ah, that was a nice turn. Good. You were steady in your rein. You weren't thinking so much about where your hands are. As soon as you thought about your knee and pushing that shoulder over on your spiral, he dropped right down, huh? Yeah. That's okay. He's going to be a little inconsistent as we work through this, but make sure your reins aren't growing. And staying nice and strong in your thigh. And thinking that nice straight shoulder. If he's getting wobbly, if you feel like, oh, he's just fussy, I don't know what to do with my hands, one of the things I think about is ignoring his head. Just chop off his neck from the shoulder forward and you have to turn his shoulder, and that's it. There you go. So keep the rhythm, keep the lower leg, telling that hind end to keep stepping under his barrel, just like we did at the walk. You gotta get that motor. Oh, that's a nice horse there. Are you thinking about moving the shoulder there?
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as that you kind of change your frame of mind, it helps, huh? And that's all it takes. Now careful your arms aren't getting too straight. And when you bring your hands up, you don't have to bring them up so high. Keep them a little more together. You want to keep that straight line from his mouth through your elbow. And think about that shoulder. Nice, Sophie. He's getting nice and soft. A little squeeze and give with your fingers, a little squeeze and give. Yeah, and lots of rewards when he does that. Nice, and you can use your voice. You can give him a little scratch with your inside rein. That's what this horse lives for, showing off for everyone. All right, so we're gonna get a walk He gets so fancy when he's proud of himself. I love this horse. That was a really nice walk transition. I didn't even have to talk you through it. You sat tall, you didn't pull on your reins. What I like to think about walk transitions, or I should say any kind of transition, you don't lose the energy. You keep that energy flowing. And you don't necessarily have to lose the speed either.
Look at him.
And by the way, for people in this video, we did not teach him this. their legs just move in different ways. So at the walk, how many beats do they have at the walk? 4. And at the trot, how many beats do they have?
2.
So that's all we're changing. We're not changing the energy. We're not changing his top line. We're not letting him dive down. You're not really changing anything. You're just sitting tall. You're dropping down into the saddle so you can stop. Now I don't want to contradict myself, but you want to keep him on his hind end. So if you're leaning forward and pulling on the reins, then he's going to lean forward and pull back on the reins, right? Yeah. So if you just stay tall and rock him back a little bit, make sure he stays on that hind end, just like you did with this walk transition, then it just changes the way his feet move. You didn't lose energy, you just changed his feet. So while you're walking, let's do a reverse and prepare him for it. Think about moving the shoulder, not so much where his nose is. Good, and keep the forward rhythm. Good. And if he feels soft, if he feels really nice for you, don't hesitate to praise him. You'll feel it before I can see it. So I can tell you anytime, you know, give him a pat there, but by that time it might already be over. And you have a good feel of the horses, so yeah. Look at his little ears go up. Very nice. All right, let's shorten those reins a little bit. Let's get him prepared. Let's make sure his shoulders are straight. He's not doing the Gumby neck. There. And then once he's soft, once he's just like this, doing his Spanish walk. I will never not laugh at that, I'm sorry. Then you get those arms where you like them, where I like them. And let's put him up to the trot so he's focusing on not showing off. And change your diagonal. So quiz time, why, when we have the correct diagonal, why are we rising to the outside shoulder? What's the point of the outside versus inside shoulder?
Because it falls with the inside leg, inside hind leg, pushes you up, right?
Yep. Yep. So you're standing out of the saddle when that inside hind is coming up underneath his belly. So that was exactly right. You're freeing it up. Let's shorten your reins just a little bit. And I have this same problem. My elbows get locked down underneath me. I feel like I'm out of control if I think, hands forward, hands forward. Good, but just find that box where your elbows stay bent. Your hands can't move out of there. There. Nice. And if he relaxes, you relax. Just a little give with that inside finger. And you start to open that inside rein to move him over, but you caught yourself. I liked that. And hands a little bit more together. That brick wall just over his withers. That's it. Now your hands aren't too high. Yeah, you think just above the withers. We're pushing. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, he's starting to get a little tired. These muscles aren't too developed, but you just keep reminding him it's okay. We got it. Not too much outside bend. And I think probably by the way you carry your stirrups and the way your hips are, you tend to do a little curl when you're going left. You kind of push those hips to the outside and you collapse those ribs to the inside. Just think of stacking those vertebrae a little more centered over your saddle. There. Very nice. Keep the energy. Keep the frame. Good. He's leaning a little on the forehand, but he's soft. He's trying to find where we want him. And he thinks soft is the biggest thing right now, so I'll let him have it. But when you do a walk transition, that's something you're going to have to keep in mind. If he's a little heavier on the forehand, and the hind end is starting to trail a little behind, then you're gonna have to really prepare him when you do the walk transition. So I'm gonna let you choose where you want to do the walk transition, where you feel that good. Now keep your body moving to keep the momentum. That was actually really nice. You rocked him back a lot quicker than I thought he would go for you. And let's do another one. When he gets to the walk, I want you to keep your body moving. If you want to keep the energy and you want to keep the speed, then you can't stop your energy or stop your speed. Now he's taking it, even trying it at the trot.
Mm-hmm.
Good, let's get that energy. You can lift him a little bit. Now he's just trying new tricks. Good, and think a little extension for a few steps. If we can get him forward and get that bum moving, then yeah. Then when you feel like he's forward, then you can just relax your posting a little bit, relax your body so he relaxes his body. And then start preparing yourself for a walk transition. You think you keep moving, keep your energy, so he keeps his energy. You think withers up so his bum can stay down. Yes! Sophie, give him a long rein, give him a pat. How did that feel?
Much better.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool feeling when you get transitions like that, huh? That was really good. So what did you feel about how he was in the frame? You know, when he was getting his head down, doing his fancy walking and trotting, did you feel that he was going on his forehead? Did you feel like he was still kind of on his bum?
Toward the end there, it felt like, you know, it was much harder to get my upper body straight up and down. It was harder to keep my legs back. It was kind of like trying to slam everything back.
Yeah, I feel like you're kind of on the slide going towards his neck. Yeah, that's exactly right. But you did a really good job kind of making yourself stay tall so you could correct it in him. It's almost like you feel like you have to lift those withers up into your belly button every step if they're getting down on the forehand. So I could see you, well, I don't want to say I could see you working at that because it was subtle. You did a really good job just staying tall. I wouldn't have thought that you were having trouble with it, but it was a good feel. So nice ride. And nice Sammy, he really did great from his stiffness at the beginning to that relaxing at the end. And he gave us all, at least myself, a good chuckle. So, all right.